something that you'll never hear anyone bring this up, but why was Cobain the body really mutilated? You never ever hear about this. This happened. Some little shit worked at the Seattle's coroner's office. He volunteered to accompany the body to the funeral home. Within a couple days, a coroner doing the autopsy,
the cadaver of Kurt Cobain,
he was brought to a funeral home and his body was mutilated, which to me sounds like some demonic sacrificial ceremony. As soon as I read this, I was like, oh, it just all made sense, and it all tied everything together that he was involved in some sort of disgusting ceremony. When he got there, he dressed
the corpse,
and his friends come and videotaped him, friends dancing with the body. Among other accusations, Love stated they cut parts of him and they kept him, and someone cut out his heart and they shaved his head, and one of the guys carved words into him. It's just like this dark, messed up thing. They carved out his heart from the autopsy report.
Just the heart weighs 275 grams.
It sounds like too crazy to be true, but it gets more believable because a bunch of suits came in from this funeral home and they had a meeting with Kurt Cobain's mom, and they gave her $250,000 to keep her quiet about what happened. It's really crazy.
It was pretty weird that Dan Jones called that radio station. And Dan Jones is the guy that took the Polaroids of Kurt and was with Bleitz funeral home.
Dan in Seattle. You're on the Tom Leykis Show with Tom Grant. Hello.
Hi, Tom. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Mr. Grant?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple questions for you. I used to work for the funeral home that Mr. Cobain's body went to. I'm the embalmer who performed all the reconstructive work on Mr. Cobain. And I wanted to speak about his death from kind of more of a pathological standpoint. I'm studying to be a forensic pathologist, so I've done a lot of reading and looking up into Mr. Cobain's death as well as forensic pathology overall. I noticed on Mr. Cobain's hands that in between the thumb and the index finger and the webbing right there, there was a lot of tattooing, what's known as powder tattooing.
Examination of the hands show considerable drawing artifact over the palmar surfaces,
which is the backfire from the shotgun.
They didn't bag the hands. They didn't collect evidence. They just, don't do anything. Patrol officers don't know about bagging hands and whatnot.
But his grandpa apparently had the autopsy report, passed away a couple of years ago, but he divulged to Courtney's father that in the autopsy report, there was no gunpowder on his hand for some reason. Why? Why was there was no gunpowder on his hands?
No fingerprints found on the shotgun. Dead men don't wipe fingerprints off their own guns.
That just means they just wiped it down or something, or he didn't shoot himself.
No, he didn't shoot himself, and then they set the scene.
I was not happy with the investigation, and they didn't put anything into it, and it showed.
I used to work for the funeral home that Cobain's body went to.
He fired the guy.
What happened was Courtney Love, she had a AOL thing, and she used to write on it every night. Apparently, she was like, oh my God, they did this to Kurt's body, blah, 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 blah. And then the next day, she deleted it and tried to hide it. But someone back then was smart enough to capture it when, the internet was new, but still someone caught it.
So here it is, straight from the keyboard next to Courtney's ashtray to that guy in Massachusetts to my email to you. Quote, they fired the first guy, but they never fired the rest of them. I forget the name. Bleitz Funeral Home, is that it? Bleitz Funeral Home? Anyway, they didn't fire anyone else. They probably all still work there. Some little shit worked at the Seattle coroner's office. He volunteered to accompany the body to the funeral home. When he got there, he dressed the body and had his friends come and videotaped him and his friends dancing with the body. They danced with him. Then one of them cut him. They cut parts of him and they kept them. Then he somehow got a hold of the suicide note and made t-shirts of them. Then I found out in a really horrible way. Someone had taped this tape of them dancing with his body after they shaved his head. There's, I can't watch it, girls sitting drinking beer while they play Pearl Jam music and dance with his body broken and bloody. They shaved his head. Okay, you want more? This funeral home is part of a chain because Edward went through this with me when his mom died. He found out the funeral home was the same chain, and him and his brother went there and stayed until she was put in the oven and cremated. The chain is $1 billion a year business based in Houston. I decided to quietly and without telling Wendy and Kim Sue them for a lot, as it seemed every employee at the home danced with him and cut him. Someone cut out his heart. I was going to take money from these fuckers and just put it in Wendy's account. I know if I publicized this, it would disgrace the poor kid even more. One of the guys carved words into him. The word I heard they carved was, "Okay, is this great or what?" So a pack of lawyers come from Houston, and in Seattle there's no emotional damages, just punitive ones. And the lawyer says, "I will take you on the stand for discovery." And I bluff and I say, "I will call Newsweek. There was a Vanity Fair article about your insane chain and how corrupt it is." He says, "Yeah, but I will get you on the stand and make you tell every dirty bad thing you've ever done." I can't have this on the cover of Time, obviously. I say, "Look, give the mom and sister $1 million and make this go away." He demands to meet them. They don't know, and I tell them, soften the stories a little. Kurt's mom walks into the deposition room. She doesn't hear the whole story and still does not know it all, but she just finds out about the dancing with him. It was the quietest I have ever seen her be and the saddest thing I have ever heard another say. She starts to weep and she says, after a long pause, "My baby was so shy." And the whole room starts to cry. And then the Houston lawyer, his name is Will Smart, I'll never forget that name, says, "Lady, I will give you $250,000 right now." And Wendy stood up very slowly and grabbed my hand and said, "I don't want your filthy money, not now and not ever." And she leaves the room. That's the tip of sad. What would you have me do? Oh, babe, there's more that's sad up there, but there's worse stuff too. I will delete this in a bit, and please respect this and don't copy it. I am really emotional right now because no one knows this outside of the family and Charlie. And of course, Chris, who blamed me somehow because, you know, I'm a bitch. Will Smart, Houston, lawyer. Prank his ass, tell him I sent you. Tell him I am a loose fucking cannon and I have gone crazy with repressed misery, whatever. Look him up. William Smart, attorney. They knew I'd never denigrate his memory by taking this to the media. While you're at it, call Dr. Steve Scappa in LA and ask him how he's not suicidal, he just needs to be separated from Courtney and Francis thing works. He is listed too. Go on, you want vengeance for Kurt, get it.
Courtney's rock and roll coroner declared suicide in an hour. Did his underling make sure it stays shut? Did the city of Seattle keep the case closed to avoid embarrassment and liability over their medical examiner office employees' horrific crimes? Why sue the funeral home but not the city? It's really messed up.